Sincere apologies for the late beginning. And we are now live for our Learned Helplessness episode. Waiting for people to join. Okay, managed?
Yeah, managed.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, so we're live.
Yes, we're live.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, it's so good to be back. Can you believe we are wrapping up?
Yeah.
How many? We started with imposter syndrome.
We started with imposter syndrome, was it?
Yeah, is that it? But there's one I forget, the one that was number 2. I forget what we talked about.
I think the second one should have been around childhood trauma, was it?
Oh, then we talked about trauma.
Yes.
And that was one of my favorite ones. To this day, I'm like, we need to talk about trauma again.
We need to talk about trauma again.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we went on to adverse
childhood experiences. Yeah.
Which you are the guru for. Everyone's been searching you out for that one.
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Probably because of the angle that I use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
With the relationships
and the parenting styles.
Yeah. You know what I'd like for us to discuss in season 2 is how it affects our money habits. I think that would be interesting.
It would definitely link up as well.
Yeah. So season 2. So I already have 2 topics. Networking, how
Mindful Mondays 2.0.
2.0. I'm so excited for that. Then we went into quarter life crisis, and today we're in the realm of learning helplessness. I can't believe. So we've done 5
so far, right? That's good.
5 really good. I was just saying when I was sharing the poster for today's conversation that it has felt like I've been in a little therapy session of my own, and I've had so many aha moments, and I'm like, I didn't even know I had that question. Yeah, so that's been amazing, and I'm so excited about that. So we're already a little late, and we'll get into it. Sure. What is learned helplessness? When you told me about it, I was like, wait, what? It's actually a thing. Is that a thing? Yeah, so do tell us, what is learned helplessness?
All right. Okay, so as we get into this, we welcome you once again. I know a number of you are just joining, and we welcome you back to our Mindful Mondays. And as we always have it here, these are basically sessions we just talk about things that we perhaps don't have the courage to, address. And here we get to have those aha moments, those conversations that just help us find a way that we can describe some things that we really don't know how to describe.
Yeah, that we don't understand.
Why
am I so angry?
True. So learned helplessness, this is actually something that we can all relate to. We have been there. We perhaps are there.
Yeah.
But how you get to navigate through different crises that you get to, go through in life matters.
Yeah.
And last week when we were looking at quarter life crisis, we learned that this is something that has to do with having anxiety over the direction of your life, and also uncertainty over the quality of your life. But when it comes to learned helplessness, this is basically you being in that place where you have reached your breaking point and you feel as though there's no more solution.
Yeah.
And I think we all get to that place at times because we have tried and tried, and all we have is evidence of failure. All we have is evidence that this thing can't happen because we have failed to do it. We have failed to find a solution. We have failed to pass that exam. We have failed to find that right relationship. We have failed to make it in business. We have failed to find meaning in our career. We have failed to find lucrative means of, sustaining our business. We have failed. And so it is something that is coming from the aspect of failure as a result of evidence of attempts that we have had consistently. And because we have this evidence of failure, we find ourselves in the place of helplessness. So basically, learned helplessness is you being in a place of conditioning where you have experienced multiple times of failure, and you get to feel as though there's nothing you can absolutely do to make a difference for you to move forward. And we have a lot of people that are experiencing this, people that are seeking for different job opportunities. They at times get to that place where they feel, well, I think I'm done. Let me just look for something convenient.
Yeah.
Let me just look for something that will be able to help me out. Maybe this career isn't even mine after all. Maybe, I'm not meant for this.
Sure.
Others in relationships, they've already given up on love, and all they have is evidence of failed relationships.
Yeah.
Perhaps it is their third or fourth relationship that has failed, and this time they just give up on relationship. I'm not doing this. I think I'm going to be single. Maybe I'll be a man and all these other things. Because
I said that before.
You said that before. All right.
I said that
we'll
before.
Get there. We'll get
Second
there.
question then is, you have described to us the feelings behind it, but what does that look like?
Okay.
How do you know I'm struggling with learned helplessness?
That's a good question. And the funny thing is that oftentimes we don't even know that this is where we are. And a number of people have actually been there.
Yeah.
One of them, I think, popular person I will actually bring out is Celine Dion.
Really?
Celine Dion, if you recall, back in 2014 when she lost her voice, there was that time she couldn't sing for about 4 years. That was 5 to 4 years. That was 5 to 4 years. Yes.
Was that long?
That was 5 to 4 years. She couldn't sing because she actually had.
Was this before? Sorry, was it before? After she lost her husband?
In fact, she lost her husband the very period that she was not singing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, she got back with that album. Was it in 2020? Courage.
Courage. I haven't listened to it, but now I will.
They're good tracks.
I'll listen on your recommendation.
They're good tracks. Yeah. Yes, but we have Celine Dion who actually experienced this learned helplessness because of the fact that in that time she could not get her voice back, and she needed to do some voice therapy trainings and all that. And look at her legacy, or rather the thing that she had accomplished at that time already.
Yeah.
But then she still wanted to express herself in that way of, the gift of song that she was always known for. But then in that time, she failed for about 4 to 5 years, and she was patient with herself in a way. But then I think, I've used that as an example because I watched a documentary where she actually said, I felt helpless because I couldn't do what I was known for. I couldn't keep up with the reputation I had put out there.
Right.
And the number of people get to find themselves in that place as well. So you realize that, you can have a good career, good profession, quite okay. Yeah. But then when you get to fail to sustain or do what you are known for as a result of anything, it could be an injury that comes up, or the very case with Celine Dion, where she had an issue with her voice, her vocal cords and all that, and so she had to go through different surgeries, and after those surgeries could not work, she was told she needed a voice trainer. And look at that, what Celine Dion needing a voice trainer.
I'm just like, let's park there for a minute. How?
Yeah. So a number of people don't realize the gap. When she stopped singing,
I didn't feel it.
Yeah, because she had sung a lot of songs that we were still listening to, but we didn't get to know what was happening in these 5 years because she just came back in 2020.
Yeah, I did. I heard about she lost her voice, but I didn't like it was that bad.
It was that bad.
But just stemming from there, the definition started with after you have experienced consistent failure, right? Yeah. But also now you have shown us a side to learn helplessness, that is failure to keep up with the status quo. Is that also, so where is the learning in that?
So the in fact, why we are calling it learned helplessness is because you've been conditioned to see yourself as a failure, because you have attempted and there's evidence that you,
so it must be true.
Yeah, so it is true. And so when we talk about learned helplessness, it is something that you believe as a result of the evidence you have experienced. So it is not something you're imagining. It has happened.
There's actually proof.
There's actually proof. And so you have failed different attempts of exams. You have failed different relationships. You have failed different businesses. And so you now think, well, this thing can't happen. It is not mine. I think I'm not the right person for this. Or this thing is not just meant for me.
I hear you.
Yes. So
I think I get it now.
The conditioning is the learning. So you, as a result of the experiences you've gone through, you end up learning that you cannot do this thing. You cannot carry out this task. You cannot become this person that you thought you would become. So the thing is that most people don't realize that they are actually in that place of learned helplessness. But there are some things that they do. There are some things that they do to avoid feeling that, emotion of helplessness. So oftentimes you'd find that some of the key things is that you have fear and you be a pessimist.
Yeah.
And most people that are in this very category of learned helplessness are pessimists.
Yeah.
So they're not that much optimistic because as a result of the failure they've experienced, they realize that they cannot change their condition. They cannot change their situation. So maybe others would, but not them. So they will actually disqualify themselves on a number of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that. So I like what you have. So many thoughts are just going into my mind now, but let's break it down. You know me, I'm always about, let's make it as simple as we can. Pessimism.
Yes.
There's pessimism, the general definition would be that I'm just generally a negative person.
Yeah.
So how do I distinguish this person is a pessimist and this, I don't know if or the question is pessimism just someone who is negative?
Okay.
Is that the context we should be understanding pessimism?
Okay. Not really. So we have different people that are negative. They're just naturally negative.
Without the learned
helplessness. But when it comes to the actual pessimism that we're trying to attach to this learned helplessness, it is one that is basically as a result of failed attempts. So you had aspirations. Yes, you had aspirations. But then for you, you just think, well, this thing isn't just my thing. And you're saying it isn't just your thing because you've experienced failure. Because you've attempted before. Not because you are just assuming like, I cannot try this, perhaps due to whatever it is. Yes. So with this kind of pessimism, it is that negativity that comes because you have experienced failed attempts.
So the pessimism is direct, the negativity is directly connected to that evidence of failure, not in the general sense of the words. So like, for instance, maybe just to clarify or give an example, I felt zealous so many times, company law specifically, right? Because I had cleared the others. But then if I start to become pessimistic specifically about education,
yes, exactly,
then that's what it is.
Then you are in that place of learning helplessness. So you have learned as a result of your experience. So it is always personal. Not because other people have been failing and so you're also negative about it.
No, it doesn't work.
So you have had that experience yourself.
And then so I'm trying to contextualize it specifically. So maybe my school is not going well, but my I can be optimistic about other areas.
Good. Yes. Okay. So you can be optimistic about other areas that are going quite well.
School is not for me.
But when it comes to school, if that's where you have had these failed attempts, then you may develop that learned helplessness in that area of school. So if it is business as well, investments maybe, you have had different failures, money hasn't been coming, poor investments, you just think, no, this thing isn't for me.
Not for me.
In fact, you even begin to think that, well, there's something wrong somewhere. Yeah, so these are some of the people that would always, try to discourage you about investments because their experience hasn't been okay. So they tell you, no, you don't try that because it's that and that. They try to exaggerate the thing or generalize their experience
and project it
onto you. Yeah.
That's really good. Okay, so I think now we are clear on the how, right? On the what is, on the what is it. This is what it is. It's specific to a particular failure. It's not generalized negativity as a human being, and it's a conditioning, and it can happen to someone who is successful and someone who is not. Yeah. And then, so how do we identify learned helplessness? Because you have just explained to us that you may be in the situation, but you don't know. So one of the things we have seen is pessimism towards a specific thing. Is there anything else?
Okay, so there are ways that we try to avoid the feeling.
Fear,
So then there's, because usually it will present in some of the feelings that we are already aware of, such as depression. Oftentimes people will be depressed because they are just feeling sad about this particular area because they are helpless. But then at times, I think this is something that I usually try to talk about, because not every negative person not every person who's become negative about a particular area is totally hopeless in that area. So oftentimes you find that some people are hopeful, but they are helpless. They are hopeful in the sense that they just bring it out there to say, well, one day, but then one day, if you get to ask them particular questions and just get to know where they are as a person, they are in that place of helplessness. They can not be helped, but they are simply saying one day, and that's just to dismiss you getting to have them do that thing again. You get the point, right? Yes.
Okay, so let's park there for a little bit, right? So when they say one day, you are saying it's a way to dismiss me from digging deep.
Yeah.
Does that mean they still, because you say someone can be helpless but not hopeless, right? So a person who says something like that, does this mean they've just said, look, I just need a break?
Yes.
And then, I'll address it sometime. Maybe
Yes.
this year,
maybe
10 years from now.
Yes, and that's where I'll talk about a particular attitude that we get to have in that state, which is the attitude of pride.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So, there are 4 avoidance responses most people get to have when they are in this place of learned helplessness. So, yes, due to the different attempts of experiences of failure, they realize that, well, this thing isn't just for me, but then everybody perhaps is waiting for them to do something. Not everybody is also saying, well, this thing isn't for you. Other people are still hopeful and, expecting something for them to, to do. It could be marriage or anything like that.
So before we get into the avoidance responses, we're saying, like we have just explained from that example where we have come from, avoidance responses are our attitude towards, now you have gone through this thing and you're feeling helpless. So this is how we avoid this. Our response is to avoid. So is this the one way the response is always by avoiding, but manifests in different ways, in these 4 different ways?
Yes.
Or there's like avoidance and there's something else and then there's something
No. The response is in these very 4 avoidance ways that we, in fact, when we look at these ways in which we avoid learned helplessness, or rather we avoid because what usually happens is that we tend to embrace this state of failure. And so we have settled, but then because not everybody is okay or would be okay with us settling, we have different things that we do. These are the 4 things that we do, because we know that, well, people are still expecting something. And so we have, the first thing that we do is that we get to have self-pity.
So that's the first avoidance.
That's the first avoidance, yes. I wanted to talk about the 4th due to the question that you asked, but I'll still get back.
I'm sorry that I'm so impatient.
No problem.
Yeah.
No
so
problem.
Self-pity.
Yes. And that's because we are usually ashamed. We're usually ashamed of the fact that this thing hasn't happened.
Yeah.
We are ashamed that the expectations that we had, the standards that we had, we're not living up to those. Yeah. That is why, if you remember last week, I tried to bring in quarter life crisis, and I tried to connect to I tried to connect it to learning and helplessness. So because of the very fact that we are ashamed that we are failures, or we label ourselves as people that are failures, we are unable to succeed in this area. So we tend to develop self-pity. And this self-pity is basically we trying to see ourselves as this person that is a victim. So we take that identity of a victim. And so when we do that, we put ourselves in that place where we want everybody to see that, well, I'm suffering. This thing isn't just for me. But somehow that is us trying to make people stop asking about, the situation, because oftentimes people are ever asking, so
how is it going with
Ziali?
Don't try me. My ancestors will come for you.
How's it going?
But I don't understand. I try to avoid self-pity because I feel like when someone feels sorry for me, then like I don't like that feeling. Like, oh, how is it going with you? I feel like that's what calls on questions. So how is this an avoidance response? Or is it that when I show that, is self-pity perceived this way? If I show you that I'm suffering, now you know that I'm suffering, leave me alone. Is that what it is?
Yes, so it is coming in as an avoidance response because you are trying to avoid the reality one, and you're trying to avoid the attention that comes with you not attaining what you wanted to attain.
But self-pity doesn't bring more attention.
No. So you are having it because you want people to sympathize with you,
rather than talk about the other.
Rather than talk about, exactly. So that's
double the trouble.
That's like a mind game that most people get to have.
And they're not aware.
And they're not aware of it. That's the challenge. That's the challenge. So you realize that, well, why is this person having low moods? Why are they depressed? Why are they isolating? But so you would end up sympathizing with them and not necessarily getting to have them up on their feet and go and make something out of your life.
Absolutely. That's so true.
So that's just one of those response mechanisms most people get to have.
And I think when you're going through it, now that you describe it like that, I probably also use that avoidance mechanism without realizing it, because it's like, look, I just need space to think.
Exactly.
Like
I just need space. That's how it starts.
Let me just, I need to gather my thought. I want to explain to you why it's not working, but honestly, I don't know why it's not working. So when I have an answer for you,
I'll come back.
But I don't have it now.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so that's why I tell you that these are therapy sessions. But been there, done that. Okay.
When it comes to matters to do with relationships, because of that rejection, for example, because most times when relationships aren't working, you feel as though you've been rejected by people. So that also is one of the responses most people would have. So in as much as they would want to put up, that face of it's all right, it's okay, I'm happily single,
Yeah.
and all these things. Yes, but there's still that.
You know what? Stop attacking us.
There's still.
There was a time I was actually happily single, but I know I've been there also. It was just like, dude, not going to make me look bad.
Okay. No. Let's get to the next.
But that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So interesting. Oh my God. Yeah.
So the next avoidance response that we get to have is that we disown our desires. We disown our desires. So you had these desires of writing the article.
Yeah.
You had these desires of being in a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
You had these desires of being a CEO. You had these desires of opening your own company. You had these desires of investing. You had these desires of becoming this person.
Yeah.
But then that's not what you have
just
become.
like, no.
You're far from that.
It's not possible.
Because you have attempted, things haven't worked. You have tried, things haven't worked.
You say that. I'm so glad you said that. So over the weekend, I was attending the workshop that Jahon and Patience had.
Okay.
And we were working. Thank you. And we're working. One of the things we did was working through your brand statement.
Oh, your brand statement. Yes.
And then I decided that I will focus on women in their 30s.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that women in their 30s struggle with is when you've come to 30 and you don't have, maybe not the marriage, you don't have the relationship you thought at 30. At 30.
Yes.
And you don't have your master's or your degree at 30.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, it's okay, it will never happen for me. Life's not fair.
True.
Then you start singing the adult anthem. Adulthood must come. That was my jam for some time. But that's what I connected it to because that's such a real thing where I have seen someone who, when we were at university, she was a high achiever, high dreamer. Even now, in her job, she excels, But you can see that there's certain parts of her life. Oh, I'm enjoying it so much. There's certain parts of her life that we as her friends remember her from. We're like, but you used to have that.
You used to be like this.
Yes,
you aspired for this.
But you're not doing that anymore, and I think it's sad, and it's masked as contentment and gratitude, and I'm like,
exactly,
no, girl, just go back to that. But I like that you say that, but also it's just because of now because I'm consistently thinking about who am I speaking to with my conversations, and I thought that was such a real thing. Age makes you feel like that, like it's too late.
It's too late,
and
exactly.
Let's just
that's the word. That's the word. So I'm glad we're having this conversation after talking about quarter life crisis, because disowning our desires is what people in quarter life crisis oftentimes get to do. So
that would make sense.
So all that you would do is, well, I'll no longer commit to this, no longer pursue this, and I'll just have to disown my desires. So people now get to change the stuff they love, the stuff they like to do, so like to talk about. And the twist there is that you get to resent that. You get to resent what you wanted to become, what you wanted to do. And oftentimes when you see people that are blossoming and flourishing in that, you just get resentful. And so you find that you just have this, bad spirit about someone. But then if you don't get to introspect and, ask yourself why you don't just like this kind of a person, you don't get to know that it's because they are living your life. They are living the life that you wanted. And all these things happen unconsciously. You just find this person quite irritating.
I just don't like them.
I just don't like them. But somehow it's because they are living the life that you hoped for. But then
worse if they are younger than you. Human beings are such complex beings.
Worse if they are younger, right?
Because you're just like, life's not fair That's interesting. Love that. Yes.
True. So you disown your desires, and that's because of the disappointment, the frustration you've had. And I usually say commitment is basically honoring your desires. So when you commit to something, then you are honoring your desires. But then people that no longer commit to their desires is because they are dishonoring. And they are trying to avoid the disappointment. You know, the feeling that comes with failure oftentimes, the feeling that comes with attempting and not having what you had desired for can be quite devastating.
Yeah, it's like that Bible verse about hope.
Oh, hope deferred.
Makes
the heart sick.
Oh, that's so true.
So that in itself is what makes a lot of people just try to disown, because there are a number of people that are now in their 30s, their 40s, and if you were to just look at their life, perhaps if you knew them, the very example that you gave, if you knew them before, you'd be like, but
where did we miss
what
that?
changed?
Yeah.
Yes, but
and
it's
like if I was close to them, I'd be
like,
but what happened to those dreams? You know, because you're not close to them.
You don't know exactly what they went through and how they lost.
Yeah.
So most people in that very place get to disown their desires. They no longer have interest, but somehow within
it's there, because it never goes away. You know, it's like a dark cloud.
Somehow
it's waiting for you to become.
So that is the second.
Okay.
The third response that we get to have is that we suppress. We suppress our emotions over some of these very things. So yes, we have the self-pity, we disown our desires, but then we just end up suppressing.
What does that look like?
So how does that look like? So you no longer have the desire, but then it is still there somehow, but you just try to avoid feeling it. Just try to avoid talking about it. You try to avoid being found in places where you would learn that.
Yeah.
So you, is it on? Should be up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So what does that look like?
Yeah. So you are basically trying to push the feeling of so yes, you wanted to become this kind of a person, but then things haven't happened. You have all these emotions of maybe anger, frustration, sadness, and all these other things, but then you try to suppress all those things so that you shouldn't feel, you know, that you are not living the life that you hoped to live. Because emotions come as signals, or they come to communicate what is really happening within us. And oftentimes we don't want to feel these negative emotions. But in as much as they are negative, they are coming to communicate to say, see, there's this thing happening. And so a number of things would trigger you to remember what you are, what you're supposed to be under those things. But then what do? You get to suppress.
Like it doesn't matter.
Like it doesn't matter.
All this won't matter in heaven.
That.
And that's how I hear it every time I see it on social media.
That is a typical example of suppression. Yes, that's a typical example of suppression. So you know that, well, this thing matters. Yes, it has triggered you. But then, well, you just say all these things won't matter.
They won't matter in heaven.
They won't matter in heaven.
Oh, but they will. But they will. And and a lot of the times, right? I see the comments, and I'm always holding back because I'm like, Upe, you will always be that girl on social media who's always trying to say, but okay, look at it. But I see things like when a couple is happy in a relationship and people say, oh, this won't matter in heaven. It will matter. It will matter because you're going to be called to account for your relationships, your
what
marriage.
Exactly will you account for?
So if it won't matter, so I'm just like, it will matter. And I'm always like, it will matter.
It will. It will. So
that's so interesting.
It's basically us trying to get over some of these things in a haste.
Yeah.
We just want to get past it. So we would rather want to suppress, not talk about it, avoid it, sweep the emotions and the attention, whatever that tries to remind you of that, under the carpet, so that you don't get to feel that you're a failure. You don't get to feel that, well, I once tried and this is my status. Or I was once in a relationship, or this is where I am now. I was once married and I'm now divorced. I once had this big opportunity in my business, but then I blew it. I once tried to invest and things were almost getting there, but still failed. So it is in that very place or state that we feel these emotions are just reminding us of how bad we are, of how useless we are.
And this is where true failure happens, I think.
Exactly.
I think that's where the true failure happens.
Because the avoidance in itself makes things worse. It doesn't help. Yes, the avoidance in itself just makes you to be in that place for the longest of time. Because you don't get solutions in avoiding. What we need to do is to address the actual
because the evidence of failure, and this is how I processed my failure, because it happened so many times with this one course. This is how I processed it in the. I think I did experience, from what you've explained. I did express self-pity, for sure, and suppression, and I think like I had a combination of the two, and this is how it manifested, right? I just need time. Let me think on it, and then I'll come back to you on it. And the suppression was, when I come back to it, I am I'm a happy failure. It's okay, we'll do it again, and we're not really getting to the root of it. But when coming out of it, I had to have the honest conversation, because I did have conversation, like classes with people who I would explain things to. They go ahead and pass, right? So I was just like, you know what, the lecturer hates me. Or and it's like I shifted the blame on the other person. But coming out of it, the process was, okay, there's something I'm missing. What is it? Right? But that was moving now from the self-pity and the suppression, and just acknowledging that, I'm failing because I'm failing. So, and that's where I feel like when you were saying, that's what I was saying, the true failure happens when you sit in those emotions without working through them, and then you're just like, you know what, it is what it is. But how do we get out of it? And the one time I did that, they asked the question, where am I missing it? Was the attempt that I actually passed.
Wonderful.
Because all this time it was just like, they don't like me, I'm not even going to study, I'll just wait to the end and whatever, then I'll go to this tuition, sit in and just do the work to show, because I keep saying there's an expectation that I will go to school, I will study, I'll be in the library. But when I had asked the questions, I'm missing something. It's not that I don't know. What am I missing?
What exactly
when I asked that question is when I got it. But that suppression is so real. Okay.
So getting to the last avoidance response that we also get to have. This is something that now a lot of people have. A lot of people are using this. A lot of people don't want to be corrected. They don't want to be helped. They don't want to be directed. They don't want to be told, well, you could try this. But they're like, it's my life. I know what I'm doing. Give me time. I'll be back.
We're what? Gen Z. We're in the era. We're Gen Z,
We're in the era of the Gen Z. Yes. So this is pride. So you're having pride because you don't want to get help from another person. You are rejecting help from other people. You're rejecting advice from other people. And you are saying you have things figured out.
And you don't.
And you don't.
You
don't have things figured out. But then you are just trying to, push people away and come out as someone that has things in control. Yet you don't have. You want to come out as someone that knows what you're doing. In a way, you are communicating that I'm just failing for now. I know what I'm doing.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
No, sis, don't catch you.
So most times people get to have this pride over maybe their relationships. They're like, no, I know things are going to work out and all that. But then you are saying all these things in a prideful way, rejecting help, rejecting others that may come, that may help you in a way. It could be business advice or investment opportunities where people will just give you an insight over some things that perhaps you have totally failed at. And you're also trying to reject that. And so all you're saying is that, don't worry, I have things under control. I actually even bought a book last time. I talked to this person. We're working on it. We're actually working on it. But in the actual sense,
I've totally heard that before.
When in the actual sense, you are not. When in the actual sense, you know that there's totally nothing that you have done. You are basically pushing people away so that they don't get to, help you. So you're becoming stubborn.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've come across some people that are stubborn in their failure, or rather stubborn in their state of being stuck. So,
in relationships, I've seen that a lot.
Oh yes.
In relationships, because I'm that friend. Please, I'm not going to stick around and be like, oh yeah, work it out. Like if it's not good, I'm just going to tell you like
it's not good.
That doesn't want to work. And my sister had a relationship. She'll kill me for doing this. Relationship. We were younger, much younger. And like this guy was like a douche, And then I just used to tell her, I'm like, if you choose this guy, we'll just spend the rest of our lives on our knees, pray, because like I kid you not, I've seen, like, I'm not that old, but I know for a fact that this relationship is not going anywhere. And so I've seen it in relationships, and we were younger, but I've seen it even with
seen how it would affect.
Where someone is in like a really bad way, and you're like, what are you doing there? No, and excuses.
Yes.
He's praying. We've been seeing a pastor.
And yet there hasn't been any of that.
And even if they go and the pastor says, this relationship, it shouldn't be there. They'll be like, so they're praying for us. Like, girl, you can't pray your way out of that. You can only flee from that.
Flee from it. True.
But I've definitely seen this in relationships. Especially again, the reason why I packed in my 40s for in the 30s for my audience is because it's where I see
these very things, especially early 30s. Early 30s.
Because there's that hurry, I need to get married, and
there's
I'm like,
that biological clock, that financial clock.
Like there's a clock for everything in the 30s.
For everything.
It's like friendship, betrayal.
Exactly.
It's like, why is
you've had all these experiences. Exactly.
So wow. Pride.
Exactly. So pride is one of those things that just come to kill everything. Because everybody needs help. We all need somebody to come through and say, hey, you can do it this way, or hey, what could be the actual problem?
Maybe I just need to change my approach, because I'm lazy. I'm just like, it's not going to work. Just let it go.
So we always need those people that will just come and push us, make us see the other version. Make us see the other style, the other way, the other method, the other approach. But most people try to avoid these people because they just don't want, that attention. Well,
interesting. So what's the right approach then? How do we approach?
So learned helplessness. The fact that you've learned this thing.
You have to unlearn it.
You have to unlearn it.
I don't like these answers.
The fact that you've learned this thing, you have to unlearn it. There's something I usually say. Something I usually say. So I usually say that you cannot talk your way out of a situation you behaved your way into.
Woo! Say that again. I like that. I'm right. I'll be using that forever. Okay.
So you cannot talk your way out of a situation you behaved your way into. So you would need to relearn some of these things and
you need to behave your way out of it.
You need to behave your way out of it.
That's pressure.
You need to behave your way out of it. So how do you do that? You identify what area are you helpless in. So you now need to ask yourself important questions. So you need to identify what area is it that you have this helplessness in. Then the only way you get out is if you have the courage to address your state. Because the first thing, I don't know if you remember, I think at some point I talked about the importance of self-acceptance and self-awareness.
Yes, I remember that.
This is where now that comes in. Because when we talk about awareness, so when you talk about awareness, you need to be aware of two things. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is your state. Where are you in life right now? You need to be aware of that. You need to be aware of your inner state as a person. What self-concept do you have about yourself? Because most people have a self-concept of, being a victim, they're waiting for others that wronged them at some point,
to come and say their story.
2, 3, 5 years ago, to come and say they are sorry. They are waiting for other people that they feel or think are the reason to why they've been failing in this area to come and give them that apology, or to come and be accountable to, I
learned that the hard
whatever
way. I received my apology and it didn't heal. I was so mad. I was like, that was supposed to heal, but it doesn't
but
heal.
It did. Yes.
Yeah.
So they are waiting for a savior. They are waiting for somebody to come and change their situation. And that's because when people, especially people that are usually trying to blame others, trying to blaspheme others, trying to defame others, trying to shame others, the people that are usually doing that, these people, you realize that their focus is not on them.
It's on the other person.
Their focus is always on the other people. So this is why the first thing is you need to identify where are you right now. And in doing so, get to have this sense of self-awareness. So the first thing I said, you need to be aware of yourself. The second is that you need to be aware of the environment that you are in. So if you are aware of the environment that you are in, you then know how that sense of self that you realized about yourself will then be able to survive in that environment. Is it even the right environment for you to survive? Will you need to relocate? Will you need to change environment? What are the things in your environment that are affecting your perception? Because the experience of failure oftentimes can even be traumatizing.
I had it right here. It's like relationship between trauma and elation. We need to go back.
We need to go, because it can be traumatizing as a result of the shame that comes with the failure. The just that feeling of rejection if it's in a relationship, because every traumatic experience affects your perception. And
it changes you.
It changes you.
It's now adapting to that new change and being okay.
So all these are the things that you have learned as a result of experience. So it is really work. That's why I'm bringing in the aspect of courage, because you can either be evidence of discouragement or evidence of courage. So
that's like dropping things. Yes.
Because a number of people, as a result of the things that they've gone through, are living as evidence of discouragement. They have gone through things that have discouraged them, and they are there as victims, embracing that state of helplessness as victims.
I thought I wasn't going to be
waiting for somebody coming from I don't know.
I vowed, like I said, this cannot be my story. I just, this cannot be, I felt dearly and that's it. Like, no. We're going to finish this.
We're going to finish this.
Even if we don't ever use it, we're finishing
it.
Yeah, because it becomes, you know how failure becomes a label?
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, everyone is like, go and talk to Hope. Because, like, she seems strong. And she's like, go and talk to Hope. I'm just like, this is not going to be my story.
Bringing every other failure.
I became a counselor.
So you should counsel them
in failure, like how to thrive.
How to thrive.
like, dude, I'm not even thriving. I'm like counseling you. But I tried. I think I did a good job. I helped a few people through.
See?
But man, it's just a terrible feeling. But you don't want to be evidence of that.
Yes, you don't want to be evidence of that. So you need to be evidence of courage.
Courage. I like
meaning that you now need to be intentional. There's even in counseling and therapy, we usually don't just help anyone. The most people that have a success experience with therapy and counseling are those that are willing to do the work.
Absolutely.
Are those that have realized the need for them to be involved in the process of doing the work. because most people would expect that, well, I'm seeing a counselor, I'm seeing a coach, I'm seeing a therapist, and they'll help me out.
Yeah, and that's why our business is so hard.
True.
And that's our business is so hard, because even if I am trying, like even with Investment Simplified, someone will come and like, oh, I want to buy the book, and that's great. And I'm like, did you actually read the book so that we can go to the next step where I can actually help you get started on the journey? And so someone will get the book and they don't read it. And then it's like, but you got the book and you didn't read it, and now you're not investing. So it looks bad on me, because I'm just like, I can't make you read. I wrote it. So you have to read it.
You have to read it. Yeah. There should always be that compliance.
Yeah.
And so you now need to be willing to see the change. You need to be willing to be the evidence of the change. So if you are willing, the next step you need to do is self-acceptance.
Yeah. Took some time. But
you need to now accept. Now you're not accepting things to just leave them as they are. When I failed, I'm a failure. No, that's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. So you are basically accepting to feel those emotions that you've been avoiding. You're basically accepting to see things for what they are and what they could be. Then you realize that, whoa, I can be this in as much as I have been or experienced this. So every experience that we have gone through is not in any way saying this is our destiny. Because it is what we become.
It's what you choose.
What we choose to become is what matters. What we choose to become as a result of what we've been through is what matters. So
I'm so excited. You finish your thought.
So when you have self-acceptance, which is basically your ability to feel your emotions, your ability to see things what they are without resisting. Because what we do,
wisdom trauma thing.
It gets back to wisdom trauma. Yes. So most people resist the emotions. They resist, just seeing things for what they are. But then when you get to accept some of these things, when you get to feel them, you feel that shame, you feel that rejection, you feel that resentment, you feel that depression. It won't kill you. It is just helping you to process what is happening within you.
True.
So when you get to feel that, you now get to see things clearer. So clarity is now what helps you to become better.
And then you start behaving backwards.
You now start behaving backwards.
And it's so funny. It's so fun. Like I have so many thoughts. I was going back to that. Like I was going to take you back to literally all the topics that we've had in this season, right? Even imposter syndrome. Again, we have to go back to awareness. It's like it's the same process. You have to be aware. Where am I? What's my environment? Am I accepting? And wisdom trauma, you can't change what has happened to you. You acknowledge that it has. These are the changes.
It wasn't your fault.
No. But it's been so good. It's been so good. I've truly enjoyed it, and I'm looking at the time. We always do this. Any last words?
So as we are concluded, so we have seen what learned helplessness can do, and most people are really in this very place, and the different ways that we can help people, of course, is to give them this awareness, because most people don't have the awareness. So we give them the awareness, but what is awareness without intervention? So most people now need to be empowered with the right tools for intervention.
Exactly.
Yes. So it is good to have awareness, yes, but it is very important for we to be dedicated to that intervention, because we now need to end this thing. We need to become better. We need to be that best version that we can be. So what I think I would bring in as the last words, I know we are wrapping up, is that we, what we resist persists, right?
You say you keep dropping these things, Yeah.
So we need to not resist a number of things that we feel as a result of what we go through. Because if we begin to resist, we'll find ourselves in these very situations of learned helplessness.
Absolutely.
So when we get to accept and get to see things for what they are, it's important that in doing so, our intention is to be clear.
Yeah.
Because what you are clear about, you will then know how to navigate. You then know how to deal with some of these things. So when you get to do that, that's when now you need to perhaps find a coach, therapist, or a counselor that will just help you out. Because the first attempt, the second attempt, all those things change the perception in you. Yeah. So that's where now the work would then begin to to happen. Yes. But well, my last sentence.
Please do not be overwhelmed. Just bring it out, because we need this information. We don't know. I don't know about these things. All my 100 years in school. I don't.
Yes. So I think the last thing I'll just say is that at the root of every achievement, because most times we feel we are underachieving. At the root of every underachievement, this is in relation to our career, relationships, finances, at times in our health. At the root of every underachievement that we get to face is the lack of emotional mastery or self-mastery.
So then we have our topic 3 for season 2. Emotional mastery.
Yes, because we're not in touch with our emotions, we don't know how to process them, we don't know how to use them, because oftentimes we need to know how to use these emotions. Yes, because we don't know how to just feel.
True.
We try to avoid the feeling, but we have to feel it.
True. Yeah,
because we don't know how to do all these things. This is why we end up having this underachievement, this feeling of underachievement, because your belief, rather your core belief about a particular thing, has an emotion.
Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure.
It has an emotion. So how you feel about something is determined by the core belief that you have about that thing. So whatever
so the emotion is just the manifestation.
Yes. So whatever feeling that you had before you started investing, whatever notions that you had about investments and all that, it could be that you had anxiety or fear, whatever it is that was embedded in that core belief that perhaps was holding you back from investing or exploring the investment world, that had a particular feeling.
Absolutely.
So how did that feeling come about?
So we go back there.
But I'm sure that's where we'll pick it up next.
I'm so excited to do emotional. I'm excited to do emotional mastery, because when I have conversations with females again, there's a sense in which, I don't know about men, you could tell me, but when women feel something, we feel like we have to act on that feeling. So if I'm angry, it means I should shout or say something. If I miss you, I should say I miss you. You understand? But the art of learning, the mastery of coming to a place and acknowledging a feeling for what it is, and just letting it be, is something. It's a power I think a lot of women have not yet harnessed in the process of getting over someone or letting go. So I'm so excited to talk about emotional mastery.
Great.
Cannot wait.
Great.
Oh, season 1 was amazing. These free therapy sessions I've been having. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm so grateful. I've thoroughly enjoyed.
I have thoroughly enjoyed myself as well.
I'm sure season 2 will be.
Season 2 will be great. Next year is around the corner, and we'll be back in January.
We should be back in January. Doc is busy, or I'll try to get him to do this quicker, but we'll behave. Emotional mastery, and
thank you.
We will hold our excitement.
We hold the excitement and emotions.
But because also they're such important topics, we need to have you in a state of mind where you're well prepared and ready to give us what you do. So thank you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining
we have some people. Okay, sorry, missed out, was on a call.
Okay.
Thank you, Shadrach, for being here.
Thank you. Shout out, Shadrach.
And Barbie.
Oh,
Always a
here.
good.
It's good to have you here.
Yes, self-acceptance is key. Is that Rosie? Doc is here dropping lines like, I know.
Who was that?
Tell me about it. Rosie Rose. She's confirming what I was saying. I'm just like, you need to write that down. You need to write that down. No, thank you so much, Doc.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming through, Rosie.
Yeah.
We will soon visit you in Dubai.
Wow.
We're going to Dubai.
Let's go to
She's
Dubai.
going to host us.
Awesome. We're coming. Because we're those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing. So we'll still do some maybe post collaborations, so that Mindful Mondays doesn't just go away until January when we do the videos. We'll still keep putting joint content.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Sure. So good night. Yes, Rosie, we're coming. We're those people. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much.
We appreciate everyone for sticking out for us as well. Yeah.
All right. Good night, then.
All right.
There we go.